We want to turn now to an NBC News exclusive with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. In a sit-down interview with NBC's Dasha, the Republican presidential candidate, who is in a distant second place behind Donald Trump in presidential primary polls, was newly critical of Mr. Trump's record as president. DeSantis criticized the former president's handling of the pandemic, his unfinished wall at the southern border, and his administration's expansion of funding for mail-in voting in the 2020 election. DeSantis also made his clearest statement yet, refuting Trump's false claims that he won the election. Take a listen to that exchange.
Yes or no, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Whoever puts their hand on the Bible on January 20th every 4 years is the winner.
Okay, but respectfully, you did not clearly answer that question. And if you can't give a yes or no on whether or not Trump lost, then how can...
Of course he lost.
Trump lost the 2020 election.
Of course. Okay. Joe Biden's the president. But the issue is, I think, what people in the media and elsewhere, they want to act like somehow this was just like the perfect election. So I don't think it was a good run election. But I also think Republicans didn't fight back. You've got to fight back when that is happening.
Now, in speaking to Dasha, DeSantis dug in on his support of Florida's new Black history curriculum, which has drawn broad condemnation, including from Vice President Kamala Harris and his Republican presidential primary rivals, as well as some members of Congress. Take a listen to that exchange.
Let's just talk about your take on these new standards. And the one sentence that's received the most backlash, I'll just read it to you. Instruction includes how slaves developed skills, which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit. So let's just be clear. You believe this is an important topic that should be taught in schools?
So that means they develop skills in spite of slavery, not because of slavery. It was them showing resourcefulness and then using those skills. If this was a different state and the governor wasn't running for president, no one would have said anything about that.
Well, I think you're right. If you weren't running for office, this wouldn't be in the spotlight. But you've also put education in the spotlight, rightfully so, because it's an important issue. But to your point that there are similar standards in the AP African American Studies course, I think the issue people take with is the word benefit and the overall framing of the Florida standards where, you know, looking at the AP course versus yours, the word enslaver appears dozens of times in the AP course. It doesn't appear once in your standards. And the criticism that I've seen beyond just that one sentence is the general framing of a slightly more positive light.
No, that's not true. I mean, there's all the gory details are in all of those standards. And we've made African-American history a priority, and we're going to continue to do that. But we are going to speak the truth, and we're going to fight back.
Joining me now on the ground in Iowa, fresh off her interview with Ron DeSantis, is NBC's Dasha Burns. Dasha, congratulations. Fantastic job. You showed the importance and the power of follow-up questions there, so very well done all around. Look, this was a rare one-on-one in-person interview with Ron DeSantis. You also had a chance to interview Casey DeSantis. I'm going to ask you about that in just a moment. But what was your key takeaway? Obviously, he went further before in saying, yes, he thinks former President Trump lost 2020, but there were other key takeaways.
Well, look, first of all, I think this shows the importance of candidates sitting down and having these conversations. I think we learned a lot about the governor, and to his credit, he sat there with me for more than 30 minutes, and he did engage in those conversations, and we did have tough back and forth and pushback, and those are the important things that candidates should be discussing, because these are the issues that matter to voters. Now, one issue that comes up for both Democrats and Republicans, and it has been key to prior elections and the midterms that played a major role, it's going to play a major role in 2024, is the issue of abortion. And it's a question all of the candidates have been asked. They've all walked a pretty fine line on this. And Governor DeSantis has sort of implied that he wants to see abortion decided on a state-by-state level. He hasn't really been very clear, though, about what he would do were a bill sent to his desk if he were in the White House. I want you to listen to our conversation about that.
What Iowa's done is not what New Hampshire is going to do, and what Wisconsin will do is not what Texas is going to do.
So would you veto any sort of federal bill that tries to put a nationwide ban in place?
So we will be a pro-life president, and we will support pro-life policies. I would not allow what a lot of the left wants to do, which is to override pro-life protections throughout the country, all the way up really until the moment of birth in some instances, which I think is infanticide.
Well, actually, I got to push back on you on that, because that's a misrepresentation of what's happening. I mean, that 1.3% of abortions happen at 21 weeks or higher. There's no
right.
evidence of Democrats pushing for
but
abortions up until...
Their view is that all the way up into that, yet there should not be any legal protections.
There is no indication of Democrats pushing for that.
Right. Well, yes, they are. They've done it in California. They've done it in other states.
They have not instituted that policy.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. They basically will say that, you know, if there's some type of they'll use like different ways to really have a wide exception for it.
It's extremely rare, 1.3%, and in those circumstances, they're typically extremely emotional decisions.
Well, no, I mean, I don't say that that's the norm in terms of this, but I do think that the left in this country has moved on from a position that said, you know what, we do want to discourage abortion, it's not something that's a good thing, to now viewing it more as a positive good for society. And I think most Americans, regardless of how they feel on legal protections, I don't think most Americans think it's a positive good for society. It's obviously a tragic circumstance.
And of course, Kristen, you know well, this is going to be an issue that will persist for both Republicans and Democrats, how they use it in the primary versus the general, and even in different states. You hear Ron DeSantis talk about the abortion ban he signed in Florida, the 6-week ban in Iowa, which has a very similar policy in place here, versus when he's campaigning in New Hampshire, you don't really hear him talk about it that much. So seeing how it's deployed by candidates, seeing how it's deployed by Democrats against Republicans, this is going to be an issue that's not going away anytime soon.
Abortion was pivotal in the midterms. We saw that in play. It will be fascinating to see what happens in 2024. And clearly, he's still figuring out how exactly he wants to message on that issue. Dasha, let me follow up with you on kind of the big picture here, which is that he has been and was in your interview more critical of former President Trump's policies than we have seen before. This is a clear part of the shift that you have been reporting on. And what's so fascinating to me about this is that if you look at the polls, the gettable Republican voters are the moderate voters, not the Trump voters, not the people who are to the right of former President Trump. What did you take away from his shifts there and his sharpened critique of the former president's administration?
Well, it's interesting. I actually did ask him, you know, are you wasting time trying to get voters that are hardcore Trump supporters? And he pushed back on me on that. He said, you know what, that's a mischaracterization. I'm trying to go for all of the voters. I am who I am. I stand where I stand. And we were able to win over a lot of folks in Florida with the positions that I hold. I think the shift is really focusing on getting to know voters in a different level, getting his bio out there. You know, earlier on in the campaign trail, he was on these big stages, behind podiums, big distance between him and the voters. Now what I'm seeing is smaller crowds, and, you know, the Trump campaign and others have criticized him for that. But that is sort of a strategic shift from his campaign. They want him to get more intimate. I've seen him sitting down at tables, at diners, having conversations. He's oftentimes alongside his wife, Casey, his 3 kids. He's putting his family front and center. Casey, by the way, a major asset on the trail. She really brings that charm and that charisma that he's often criticized by some of his critics for not having quite enough of. She brings that sort of softer touch and is able to articulate the message in a different way, connect with mothers and grandmothers in a way that maybe is a little bit different than he's able to. So we're going to be seeing a whole lot more of Casey DeSantis on the trail as well.
Very notable that the two of them sat down together with you. Just a great interview all around. Dasha, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.